So, good morning, Kenyans and our friends in all the other countries. We are glad that we are here again to look at many other issues that are concerning our country. And today is Kenya at 60. Today is Kenya at 60. How old are you, wherever you are? How old are you? When were you born? For those who are 60, you're supposed to tell us where our country is today. How was these things? How has the country, concerning your your journey to your age today, how has it been? We are talking about a country of Kenya. We are 60 years after independence. What has happened in our country? What have we achieved? Are we anywhere in the spectrum? Are we anywhere we can be, stand tall and say we are Kenyans, as Kenyans we are here, we have done this and that? Well, it is what we are going to discuss this morning. So Kenya has come a very long way. This country has come a very long way. As we speak, we have the fifth president, and it is something to mention here that after independence we have experienced peace. Besides issues that has been happening here and there, we have lost many lives in the 60 years of independence. We have done so much, and importantly is, do we have a country to brag about? We have a country to say that it is something good for us. You'll tell us this. My name is Paul Gregory. This is Taswira ya Siasa na Uongozi, na ndani ya taswira hiyo ya siasa na uongozi ndipo ambapo tunaangalia uongozi wa nchi ya Kenya, uongozi wetu, tumetoka wapi, tuko wapi, tunaelekea vipi, nani ni nani katika uongozi wenyewe wa taifa hili la Kenya. Na ndio maana asubuhi ya leo, kabla tu ya sherehe za siku ya leo, tunamtarajia Rais William Ruto kuongoza sherehe pale maeneo ya Embu, kutuonyesha ni jinsi gani anataka nchi iendelee. Baada ya miaka 60 tuko wapi, tunaelekea vipi. And this morning we are glad that again nina mgeni ambaye atatusaidia pia kuelekeza haya, na kwa sababu ni mambo yanayohusu nchi yetu, basi yanakuhusu hata wewe. Kwa hivyo send your views, your views, tuambie uko wapi, unasherehekea siku hii na kitu gani, changamoto zipi ambazo umezipitia wewe kama Kenya. And that is something that we need to go deeper na kuangalia tutafanya nini. This morning, once again, nasema I have a guest. I want him to introduce himself. Atuambie amepotea pia siku chache hajakuwepo na sisi. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. Nashukuru Bwana Paul. Na good morning to all the Kenyans. Sorry, nimekuwa na sauti yangu crack kidogo, but we are trying.
Very well.
Today is Kenya at 60, and it's a long journey, 60 years is not a joke.
Yeah.
But we thank God for this far that we have come as a nation. Majina yangu naitwa Steve K. Ama ukipenda Apostle Steve. Mimi ni mhubiri ambaye anapenda taifa lake.
Allah.
Na ndiposa masuala kama haya na siku kama hii tunaichukulia kuwa siku ya muhimu sana.
Sure.
Hatuichukulie kuwa kama siku tu kama ile nyingine ya kawaida, mbali tunaichukulia kama siku iko na uzito, sababu tunakumbuka kwamba there was a time we fought for what we have today. And therefore it's good to flash back and then you remember how the journey has been. And you see maybe what needs to be corrected here and there. And moving forward, because this great nation needs men and women, not just the government alone, to really participate on the building of it. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We thank God for Kenya.
Good.
We thank God for the government in place. And we thank God for those few or many Kenyans that are so committed to ensure that we have peace everywhere in this country. Peace is very important, Bwana Paul.
Yes.
Peace is everything in any nation. Without peace, no development. Without peace, no nation can economically stabilize itself. So peace is everything, and I think Kenya, we are known with that. We are a nation that loves peace. Though of late we have witnessed a few things, challenges here and there, but somehow we are trying to restrain ourselves and come back to the place of the peace that we know. Yes,
we have a fifth president in the country, and we have witnessed the rest presidents, led, and they had what they did and all that. Besides all that they did, something has happened, and I want to take myself to the history, where the first president, the second president, and third president, fourth and fifth, all these men of Kenya have led this country. What do you say about the journey of each and every president? Let's take the bracket from the first and fifth.
From the first to the fifth. Historically, we have a lot to talk about Kenya, and especially when you talk about the president that we have had in this nation up to the fifth president. I might be not really the right person to talk more about the earlier presidents that we have had in this country. But I was there in the days of Nyayo. I was one of the beneficiaries of Maziwa ya Nyayo in those days while we were in school. I have a little bit of history of the Mzee Jomo Kenyatta himself. And then the days of Kibaki, I was a grown-up man. I was in town working. The days of Kenyatta, we were here together, struggling with everything. Now we have the fifth one, Dr. Samuel William Ruto. One of the things that stands out in the history of Kenya with the five presidents that we have ever had is that we have had men who were very committed and focused to build this nation. But politically, there has been, I don't want to call it a series of betrayals. Okay, a series of betrayals. When you look at the history between the first president, the founder of this nation, great nation, and our first vice president, I think that was around 1966 there. The fallout between the Mzee Jomo Kenyatta with his president, I think that was the first thing that really happened that introduced Kenya to the series of politics of, betrayals, let me call it like that. And the struggle now started there. Not only the struggle for freedom, but the struggle to achieve certain rights. And when you look at the style of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, I never had a privilege to see him, or maybe be there in the days of his leadership. The style of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was not far from what he found in the days of colonialism. Yes, there was some of the rights, excuse me, some of the rights that really matters in a democratic nation. They were still not given to the citizens. You remember we were struggling with the issues to do with the being detained without trial. And even after independence, something similar to that is still, kept on happening, you see. Until the days of Mzee Moi Pia, we witnessed also something like that, where you'll have the civil rights of the, citizen being withheld, and, there was not that much freedom. As if that now a nation has come to a place of independence. So I might say the first president and the second president of this country, they were like trying to derive their leadership style from the skills, maybe of the experience they had from the colonialism system. And somehow it's like Kenya is not yet still free.
Somebody is saying Mzee Kenyatta was like a rattled snake.
Yeah.
He has been touched upon a pile. So when he came into the leadership, he had to behave in a certain way.
In a certain way. And you don't cross this Mzee and walk out and remain relevant.
No.
Yeah, he was also a kind of a leader that will make sure that after you, because you know the attempt of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga of defecting from the Kano, the ruling party during that time, and he went and he formed a party that was called KPU, something like that, the Kenya People's Union. And that party never became effective. Historically, when you look at it died somewhere there. So the leadership style of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, it was kind of a leadership that once you detach yourself from the system, then you become irrelevant. He had his own way of making sure that he keeps the loyalists around him, that to make anybody away from the system become nothing. And I think it's a style of African, leaders. Most of the African leaders, they have that kind of a way. Once you detach from the system, there is a struggle that you really struggle.
Giving yourself back.
Yeah, there is a limitation of many things that starts happening. Maybe in your career, to an extent that you become irrelevant, and you are nowhere to be seen anymore. And we are also witnessing that in the days of Mzee Moi. But one thing we appreciate about Mzee Moi, this leader managed to lead this nation peacefully within a duration of 24 years. And no Kenyan happened to hurt or harm another Kenyan. This Mzee had a wisdom of making sure that he unites the nation. It doesn't matter whether he was a kind of a dictator or maybe his style of leadership was a kind of dictatorship, but somehow he managed to lead this nation in a peaceful manner. That is one thing we can remember when we flash back and look at the second president of this nation. And again, when you look at the style of leadership of Mzee Moi, he was also a mentor. He was also a father. I think people like our current president, in the days of Mzee Moi, that's where they were picked. Some of them, like Mdavadi, they were picked direct from the school.
Oh yeah, those who are seen today came from that.
Came from that the regime of Moi. Actually, I can say they are just a breed of Moi. You see, he was a mentor. This Mzee, his leadership was so much into future. He was a very futuristic person. He saw a nation where we needed young people to participate in the matters of governance and the leadership, especially in the political and the sharing of power. So somehow we can look at the history and say, what if we didn't have somebody like Mzee Moi? Some people like President Uhuru today. Nobody was ever.
Uhuru was picked from the.
We know from. We know, and eventually, even after losing on 202, he came back again. It's like something about Mzee Moi. Once he points his finger into something, that thing must end up becoming something. It's like there was a prophetic unction about this Mzee. If he says this particular one, there is something about him, then you'll have to watch that. Time will come and the person will become something. So we know many of the faces actually we are seeing today in our political class are people like Mdavadi, people like Ruto, the current president that
even
we have
Kalonzo.
today. Even actually Kalonzo, he was picked in those days. Was it 1984, 1985, something? Yeah. And he served in many different powerful ministries in those days of Mzee Moi. So this Mzee was, let me call him, he was a father. He was a father. Away from being just a politician, he was the father figure. He really pioneered, a kind of, a future in this nation that I'm not sure whether we are ever going to have that kind of a bold leader again, who believe in investing in people yet not, threatened by what they will become. He knew himself. He had a confidence with himself that he was not afraid of, or maybe being insecure of the people that he is raising and what they are becoming. Yes.
I think he's one of the presidents that we have witnessed enough and up to utmost peace. Apart from the coup that came into place in 1982, and maybe the fight for democracy, I think after this These are the only incidences that we experienced.
Which was very necessary. The breakout of 1992, I think it's what led to the 2020. It's a revolution that kept on, it was progressive from 1992. Yes. Developing a nation or a country, Bonapole, is not something that you can do with a day. Because when you look at our history, you're going to notice that the struggle between the year 1992 up to 2010, I think that was on 27th of August of 2010, when we managed to finally give ourselves or adopt to the new constitution. The struggle was all about making sure that we bring a nation to a place where we are fully independent. And even, the nation of Kenya in the hands of Mzee Moi, in as much as he was somebody who prioritized peace, and his leadership style was all about uniting the nation, making sure, and even if one leader maybe from a certain community wants to maybe raise his, opinion and try to betray maybe Mzee Moi, he will pick somebody just from nowhere, from the same community.
Yes.
If you're coming from Central, maybe you're coming from Eastern, and you feel like you just want to, challenge Mzee Moi, he will just pick somebody from the same community, replace you with that person, make the person relevant, make the person become the kingpin from the same community, and that's how you are finished.
Yes, that is the journey for that. We have gone all the way, and it is after Moi had gone.
Yeah,
that is when we experienced in 2007 to 8.
Yeah,
we
from
experienced deaths, 1,000+ deaths.
Yeah. For the first time, since independence, we saw the bloodshed, the post-violence election between 2007. By that time, I was in Mombasa and I saw what happened.
Yes.
I just ran away from Mombasa and I came to my home place, Kitui,
yes.
and things were not really good. Some of the experiences, some of the things that Kenyans must never wish to repeat or revisit. 2007 post-election violence to 2008. It was the first experience that we had as a nation where you could now tell, like, the atmosphere politically needs a cure. Something needs to be done. Yes, something needs to be done. And one of the things that we have also to appreciate is that this also happened within a period where we had a president that was very wise. Because if you look at the way Mzee Kibaki also handled that issue, if it were the days of Moi, he would have maybe applied some force, and that could have led into a very serious crisis. But Mzee was so cool and so calm to a point that now we had the international community coming in, and all the negotiation happening and the reconciliation until we arrived into a conclusion of having now the prime minister and the two deputies of our prime minister. That was necessitated because of what had happened after election. And again, the president, now that we had the man, I think, from where I sit, he had the interest of this nation in his heart. Otherwise, he would have stood his ground and say, I won the election, and everybody must abide with the laws or the rules of the land. And you can imagine where this nation was going to end. It was going to be a very serious crisis. But we thank God, I think from 2007 until today, although I think that incident also opened another door of politicians and also the Kenyans to really now, come to a place where of, finding a way of approaching the election, maybe grievances when it's maybe something happens and you're not comfortable with it. If you remember from 2007 up to 2013 now, after the exit of Mzee Kibaki, we are witnessing the first time the dispute of election being now taken to the High Court of the land. And during that time, we had the CJ Mutunga. That was the first time now we have our own, an institution that is going to handle our own problems, our political issues, without any intervention of international community. So the 2007-2008 issue also led this nation to another development of realizing that we can mature politically, we can grow politically, and we can solve our issues.
I think
without involving any international community. So we are growing. At 60, we are growing. We have matured. We have learned a lot.
Right. Whom are you celebrating at 60? After that introduction to the presidency, of course, we have not mentioned Uhuru and the current president, the youngest.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We are trying to look at the history, President Uhuru is just the other day.
Yes.
I think even the perfumes of State House are still on his clothes.
Oh yeah.
But again,
I'm sure at some point he dreams he's still in the State House.
Sometimes he dreams while within the compound of State House. Yeah. But also we have to appreciate again the effort of the previous president, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta. He really also focused on what we call the infrastructure. I think that was his passion, and his vision was to make sure that he elevates this country to another level in terms of infrastructure. When you look at the efforts of President Uhuru Kenyatta, there are two things that stands out very clearly in his leadership. He was more focused on uniting the nation. He did actually what no any other sitting president has ever done. Leaving his own party and everybody within the party going to the opposition to attempt, to reward or maybe pay back something that he felt that needed to be compensated. That was his own opinion and his own stand. And when you look at even this issue of borrowing that the current government is talking about and complaining about, we all know that there are some of the things that we have witnessed within a period of 10 years during the time of President Kenyatta. One of them being the SGR that we have seen, and also the expansion of many other important institutions in this country. We have witnessed. If you go into some of our neighboring country, Banapolo, you will know that Kenya it's like London in terms of infrastructure. We are somewhere. We are somewhere.
So what you're saying is that Uhuru Kenyatta can be remembered on the records of infrastructure. He ensured that all roads are passable.
All roads are passable. In fact, as we are talking right now from where I come from, since the days of Nyayo, every politician that came in power, or maybe those who aimed to come in power, there is one road I remember, that is Kibwesi Mutomo Kitui Road. That they used to use as a point of their, campaigns. And that road has been there for many years. From my place, that is Kitui town, to my home place, my motherland, is a journey of, as of now I drive only for 45 minutes and I'm at home. But those days we used to drive for 3 hours.
Wow.
But as we are talking right now during the time of President Uhuru Kenyatta, those who are coming from Kitui, especially Kitui Southern, they know that we have that road, and that road is well tarmacked. And when we talk about infrastructure, those are the things that we talk about. But sometimes, being a Kenyan is also a problem, a serious struggle, because Kenyans, they want something that they can identify with at a personal level. They want to know, what did he do that is directly affecting my life? You can imagine when you have a business in a place where the manufacturer or the supplier of the product cannot reach you because of the road. It means that that's how people, they don't view things. Your business is going to be affected directly by, if there is no the proper infrastructure within your place. So we can remember Uhuru, our former president, with his effort of making sure that this country gets to at least another level in terms of infrastructure.
I remember he has been very passionately, with this thing, and he has been talking about it. So it's something that has been in his blood.
Actually, I think it was during his time that he also attempted the very bill that we are having right now that is becoming like a hot soup. The housing bill, whatever. I think he was the first president who said, we need to do something with this matter. And he attempted to introduce it, but somehow I think it went into parliament and it didn't really pass. And now we have his by then deputy also trying to push it again. So he is a man, to me, his vision was more about seeing a country that has been developed that can really actually match the standard of at least a nation that is developed. He was so much into the infrastructure. Yes.
So that's something we can remember about Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
And above all these other presidents, I think what you have said is that Mzee has the first president can be remembered of the unity that he brought
unity,
in.
yeah.
And of course, the second president, the same.
The same day.
The third president has been known so much about his ability to bring the infrastructure.
And again, I think President Uhuru Kenyatta was also a gentleman who never really bothered himself with what other people will say. He was so much focused to whatever vision that he had, that even the very people that we can now stand and say they were supposed to be behind his decisions from where he comes from, they went against his choice and his decision, and he still remained standing. He was very firm. So that one shows you that he is a man who, had a confidence in what he believes in, and he will go for that without looking behind. Yes.
Maybe to sample some messages here. Somebody, Anajita Geoffrey Kalonzo, he says thanks Apostle Steve K and Brother Paul for good work to nation of Kenya. Cheers. Thank you so much. Tuned in from Kilifi.
Kilifi County. Kalonzo, God bless you. That's my son.
And then, that's your son. And then, Nyawera, thank you. I'm celebrating my dad. He's 60 years. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Fine, celebrate somebody. That's a good one. Now, after just heard that, Steve, I think we now look at what our topic now says today.
Yes.
We have had presidents come in. We also have, maybe you can talk about those who have contributed in this struggle, maybe later. But now, we as a country, do you think we are where we are supposed to be at this age? 60 years after independence.
Yeah.
Do you think we are somewhere, if not there, in the picture where you think our forefathers would want to be? If somebody woke up today, if Kenyatta rose up for parliament, not okay with it,
and be proud of the nation he fought for. Well, like I said, Kenya is not a developed country. It's a developing country.
It is a developing country.
It's a developing country. And developing a nation, it's a progressive matter.
Sure.
It's not something that happens just within a night or within a day. I just want to highlight something, if you allow me. Kenya at 60, there are a few things that has happened that I'm very sure if today Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and together with his colleagues who fought and struggled to make sure that this nation is independent, if they were to wake up today, there are a few things they will be proud of if they wake up today about Kenya. The first thing, Bwana Paul, I've come to just look at, you remember there was a time in this nation that we used to have just one party. There was a time we used to have one party, and that was the Kenya African National Union, that was KANU in those days. And in 1992, that's when Kenya managed at least to get to a place where we have what we call the multipartyism. And we had the freedom whereby now the political, parties can be registered, can go on the ground and be registered and be effective. And from 1992, when now Kenya began, actually I can say politically, that's when now the this nation began to grow.
To grow.
You are looking from 1992, and then from 1992 you are looking at 1997. When you look at the politics from 1997, and then again you come to 2002, there has been a progressive growth politically in this nation.
Okay.
And that's why you're witnessing even up after when President Moi said that you have people that defected and they walked out of the kernel of those days and they went to form what they called the rainbow. And nobody was hunted by anybody. The freedom was, really assured from 1992. And the second thing that happened that any Kenyan can be proud of, those who are living and those who are dead, is that in August 27th, 2010, this country managed to give itself a new constitution that introduced us into two things that are very important, that every Kenyan should really be proud of. And the 2010 constitution introduced us into what we call the devolution. Bonaparte, let me see this one. As the time goes by, maybe Kenyans will come to appreciate this. Devolution is the best thing that has ever happened to this country.
Yes.
Because one of the serious struggles that we have ever had since independence until now, the 2010 constitution, is the problem of distribution of resources.
Yes.
Before the devolution, I have been privileged to walk around this nation in different parts of this country. There are some places I used to go and I will ask myself, where I came from, is it really Kenya? Because you arrive into places where you are wondering, are you in South Africa somewhere?
Yeah.
Are you in Egypt somewhere? Where the roads are well tarmacked. You are just walking on the road and you find the taps of water. Just in an individual homestead, just in a family, you find the water is just connected. Everything is just flowing. And you go in some places, even roads, even schools. And I was wondering, are we having the same Kenya? Are we sharing the same map? Are we sharing the same territory? So the issue of distribution of resources was a serious problem in this country. That if you ask me, although we are just, let me call it an attempt, we are attempting to solve it because we still have the struggle. The struggle is not yet over. The struggle of distribution of resources, what we call inclusivity, what we call, the equal opportunity to access of resources. That was a serious problem in this country. That was solved immediately after when we adopted to the 2010 constitution. So in regard to governance and the power sharing or the distribution of resources, we have something that we can be proud of. The 2010 constitution. That introduced us into what we call devolution. Today, as we are talking, Bonaparte, we have some functions that have been devolved, like health. Do you know that immediately after the devolution, that's when now there are some people who are watching me right now that are working in our county levels as health workers. That there before you could not get those kind of opportunities, but now you have those opportunities because of the development of the health sector. Devolution is the best thing that has ever happened to this country, and that has happened because of the 2010 constitution. If well managed, if properly implemented, I am very sure we can solve the problem of inclusivity. We can solve the problem of distribution of resources. And if that happens, then you have peace in this country because everybody will feel like I am at the center of where good things are happening. You know, the problem of every democratic nation is when you get to a point and a certain part of a nation starts feeling that there are those who matter and there are those who matter the most.
The big fish and the small.
The big fish and the small fish. That is the beginning of crisis in any democratic nation. But now we are at the point where we can at least say we are attempting progressively to solve the problem that we have been having since independence. I hope you also remember that there is also another problem that we have been having in this country that we call the civil liberties. The civil liberties. We are seated here, Bana Paul, today, having the freedom that we are having today because of the 2010 Constitution. It's an achievement that we cannot really overlook. In as much as we have so many things that we have not managed to achieve, but at least we have something to be proud of. And I'm just saying this one so that I'm trying to open up the eyes and the understanding of Kenyans so that they may understand where we are at the 60 and what are the most important thing that we should concentrate with as a nation. Because when you look at our constitution, the current one that we have, it has really helped this country to grow democratically. Where you can have even the president seated there, and somebody can just rise here and take the microphone, and they say something to correct the government of the day, and that person walks free.
I remember there was some time you could not even breathe about. I remember when John Joe some time back, he was not there. This history.
Even that freedom of the journalism where you can cover everything without hiding, that was not there. Because the first thing that was not even allowed is that thing that we call the freedom of speech. Because the freedom of speech is what actually brings everything into clarity. Like I'm standing here and I can speak my mind. I highlight my opinion without being,
and nobody will question.
And nobody will question me because it's a right that I have in the Constitution. It's a right that I have. So long as I am not violating any law of the land, so long as I'm within, the parameters of the law, then the 2010 Constitution has brought this nation to that place now. That's where we are as a nation. Where you can have people outside there, march from wherever they are coming from whichever society, and go to the parliament and petition something. We saw that one just the other day, yesterday. That was not there in those days. You'll be arrested, detained, without trial.
Correct. You'll face the Nyayo House.
You face the Nyayo House. So Kenya at 60, we are not the same.
Yes.
And we are not where we were or where we used to be. We are growing. When you go outside the country, kuna msema napenda kutumia, unasemanga ukiwa kwa gari hausikiangi mgurumo wa gari. Ukishuka, that's when you know gari ilikuwa inaguruma. Sometimes, Bwana Paul, I find myself in some African nations, and when you say that you are coming from Kenya, Kenyans are people that are known with the big minds. Okay, there is a lot of investment that has been done within the sector of education in this country that has really helped this country to become at least the face or the image of East Africa. This country, you may not really understand the impact of that until you find yourself outside the territory of Kenya, and then you say you are coming from Kenya, and you see how those people are going to respond to that identity that you have introduced to them. So Kenya at 60, the only thing I feel like we should be really ashamed of, even even as we celebrate Kenya at 60. Bonapol, we have done so many things, including the infrastructure, the investment that we have done in various departments of infrastructure, including also in the education sector. But it's very interesting that Kenya at 60, we are still importing food.
We're still importing. Just hold on there.
Yes.
We shall come there because now the question, a very big question that we have is Kenya too old to fumble? Is Kenya too old to fumble? Are we? After this short break, we shall be handling that, looking at what and where is our country. Are we still fumbling, as you have just mentioned? After this short break.
committed to building strong, prosperous families and a blessing generation. Through our food programs, housing initiative and a community visit, we believe that everyone deserves access to healthy meals and a safe place to call home. With the support, we can continue to provide hope and support for those who need it most. Together, we can create a brighter future for them. Join us today and be part of something truly meaningful. Discover the key to your child's future success with Shamareo School, a leading academic institution offering comprehensive education in a supportive and nurturing environment. Shamareo School is a day and boarding primary school with highly qualified teachers and a cutting-edge curriculum. Our school prepares students for a bright future and equips them with the skills necessary to succeed in the 21st century. Our innovative approach to education fosters creativity, critical thinking, and a lifelong love of learning. From our state-of-the-art facilities to our diverse extracurriculum activities like swimming, football, music, taekwondo, art and craft, our school provides a well-rounded education that goes beyond classroom. Join us for a scheduled tour to see what sets us apart. Invest in your child's future with Shamareo School. Our school is located at Syokimau Katani Market. Email us at info@shamareoschool.com or call us at 0741 248012. For more information, visit our website at shamareoschool.com. Shamareo School, a place to excel.
UONGOZI Initiative. This is a noble initiative of Every Home for Christ. Every Home for Christ is a non-profitable organization that operates in various counties in Kenya, including Mombasa, Kisumu, Nairobi, among others, and is dedicated to sharing the truth and love of Jesus with everyone, everywhere. EHC mission is to serve the church by equipping and mobilizing believers to participate in sharing the truth and the love of Jesus with every person and home on earth. We have ongoing training, prayer mobilization, and outreaches in Kajiado, Machakos, Makueni, Kitui, Kilifi, Watamu, Marsabit, Isiolo, Kisumu, Eldoret, and Western region. The EHC vision that every person on earth would have a genuine opportunity to respond to the truth and the love of Jesus. Theme of the year 2023 is togetherness, which is rooted from the book of Romans 15, verse 6. The three unalterable convictions, the Great Commission, the unity in Christ's body, and the power of prayer. This is UONGOZI Initiative, Every Home for Christ. You can find us on 0741 65 5608. You can also visit our website at www.everyhomeforchristke.org. The UONGOZI Initiative, Every Home for Christ. Very well, thank you so much. Karibu tena. This is Taswira ya Siasa na Uongozi ndani ya Nissi Television. We are here looking at question tunauliza swali. Is Kenya too old to fumble? That is the hashtag. And please send in your views. Now, during the break, we were really looking at the presidency and what we have done, what the achievements. We mentioned a lot. You have mentioned a lot, and what the government, I mean the Kenyan, people are going to celebrate and will be celebrating is the fact that we have, what is it? The new constitution. Maybe I just allow you to continue from there.
Yeah. So we are looking forward to see how the stateman, I mean, the head of the state, our president, how we will lead this celebration today. I think it's in the next few hours from now. We are going to witness that one. And I'm very sure again, we also have to appreciate that we have been also at least managed to get to a point where we can have elections. And even if they are dispute here and there, somehow, again, politically, this nation has got something to celebrate. We have grown to an extent that we don't witness those small. For the first time, I don't know whether you're aware, this election we did not have many cases in the the petitions, maybe from the MPs levels or maybe the governors or the senators. We did not witness that compared with the previous other election. That one is an indication that we are growing, that we can conduct a peaceful election and concede and accept and move on. That one to me is also something that we should celebrate, because one thing about African community, we are known with one thing, that when it comes to election, we never agree that we lost. It's an history that we are known with in Africa.
And the country, that is what we are tunaumia sana nayo, because we are not accepting that we lost.
We are not accepting. Like you, excuse me, you're going on a competition of something, and if you are going to engage on a process of a competition or a contestation, you have to prepare yourself for two things. You might win, you might lose. And you must, psychologically, you must prepare yourself for that. Emotionally, you must prepare yourself for that. But again, now, when you look at the history, it's very important to focus on the history, because everything about every land has a way of repeating itself. We are going to have a generation in this nation that is going to remember that there was a 2007 and 8 something that happened, and they will use that one as the reference point to remind any other person. That's the way Rwanda keeps on using the event that happened there to really caution people in the matters of tribalism. You're going to Rwanda today, they don't talk about where do you come from, which language do you speak. They don't focus on those things. So Kenya, we have grown, we have marched ahead, we are somewhere whereby we can conduct election peacefully and have governors accepting and say, I lost it, and they shake hands with the one who was elected, and they cooperate and they work together. That is something that we can celebrate. We just had an election last year, August. Basically, there was, the transfer of power. We saw what happened, and the visitors came, international community was there, and everything went well, and smoothly there was that handing over. That is something to celebrate in this day, on this particular day. So there is the hashtag of the question that we have is Kenya too old to fumble? Let me see something here. There is a age that you arrive, Bonapol, and you don't have the time or maybe the luxury of attempting certain things. I was watching a clip, listening to a clip of one of the Chinese billionaires, and he says, at the age of 20 to 30, you can follow a good boss who will teach you the skills of how to manage things and learn from him. At the age of 30 to 40, you don't have to really focus on following somebody, but you're supposed to exercise what you have learned. At the age of 30 to 40, you're supposed to have learned something. And at that age, you cannot afford to lose opportunities. So you are allowed to do anything or attempt anything that comes on your way. But again, he says from the age of now 40 to 50, it's too risky to do what you are not good at. The age of 40 to 50, from 50 to 60, he recommends that you do only what you are at good, or you do what you are good at. So at the age of 60, Kenya, we cannot afford, number one, to carelessly handle or mishandle the political matters. There is a lot of shake-ups and the shaking here and there politically in this country. When you listen even to some of our leaders, the way they are talking, the other day I heard a statement that is coming from that side of opposition saying that we need to divide
the country, secession.
Secession. We need to divide this country and have, another parallel.
I was wondering where the boundaries will be.
Yeah, those kind of utterances, those kind of statements. I don't want to call them idle, because this one it's a senior statesman, a leader that we respect. But that's a very awkward statement. A very dangerous one.
I will lead by condemning some of the people.
Yes.
Because how can somebody like Mwangi Wairia, just mama pale na I am ready to assist to collect signatures. What kind of signatures are you talking about? So I think what you're saying is right.
I'm happy that you are bold enough to mention their name because you see, I don't know whether you have noticed one thing about our political leaders or the politicians that we have in this country.
Yes.
Are people that will, because we also witnessed something. You remember the first, the manner that happened and the people were arrested. There is this, mentality that everybody knows that if you line up maybe behind a particular personality, nothing is going to happen to you. And even if you get arrested or maybe the government comes after you on the process of trying to reconcile and make maybe peace, everything and everybody was maybe, arrested or something happened to them during the time they are going to be released. We saw and we witnessed people being released without being, taken to the court of law or being paraded to any, justice corridor. We witnessed that. I think that has now empowered a notion, a mentality that political is not good for a nation. That's why now you see people like the Mangu area standing and say, I'm ready to help the collection of signatures. Let me ask you something. Can he really say that by himself? I'm sorry. I don't want to walk out there and have a problem with his followers. But I'm just asking right here. He's on record. Does he really have the capacity? He himself by himself, does he really have the capacity of stating that kind of statement? Now you know that this is somebody that is trying to stand on another person's shoulders so that he can, exalt himself and be seen that he is taller. Which to me, that is not the language that we need in this country.
Sure.
The leaders that are on the front line and especially those leaders that the citizens have developed confidence with the period of time. You look at people like our own Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. We know that this man is a lawyer. He's not just a lawyer, but he's a senior counsel in this country. He understands everything that it takes to govern the nation. He understands everything to do with the governance, everything to do with the what it takes to have a peaceful nation that is governable. He understands that. So I'm wondering, at what point are we going to have leaders that are honest enough that what they say in public is what they also tell themselves? Because it's like what is being said is just being said so that the audience might consume. And you are consuming something, if you're not careful, will now eventually consume you. Because somebody is going to hear that kind of a idle statement, and then they're going to pick that statement and they go on the street and they start messing up. Those kind of reckless and careless utterances, we are too old to have those kind of atmosphere.
What you said, it is so carelessly uttering some words that are almost,
You remember there was a time on this bench I said, the problem of many people is that they don't know what to do with freedom. And I also say that freedom is never freedom until you know what to do with that freedom. To do with that freedom. And that's why now, in as much as now we are celebrating that we have a constitution that has introduced us into this kind of a freedom, we have also to come to a point where we have to look at ourselves. Where are we as a nation? And what is expected of us? there are certain things as we talk right now. I'm looking forward to see the leaders who are going to help us to solve the problems of when are we going to become a nation that is fully independent when it comes to food security. Why are we having something like food, security being a campaign point? Kenya at 60.
Green country like Kenya.
Yeah, this nation is an agricultural land. We know that. Where are we at the point where we are still talking about, the youth, the very huge percentage of the population of youth that are graduating, that are coming out of school, and they have nowhere to go to do anything. That's a discussion that every honest leader should really fight for. But what are we having right now? What are we having right now? We are too old for that.
We cannot afford it.
We are too old for that. I am sorry, I'm not trying to downplay even the discussion that is happening right now.
Yeah.
But since I have the right to speak my mind,
That's why we have the 2010 Constitution.
I think we are just being unnecessary sometimes as politicians.
Right.
We are just being unnecessary sometimes as politicians. And sometimes I think we are taking Kenyans for a ride. We are taking Kenyans for granted. And that is not really good.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really good.
That's
Some of the things you're hearing from our leaders, I think they can, even when you listen to those statements, you can tell that this person has no clear vision for this nation. If you are to ask that person, where exactly do you want, if you are to be given a position or an opportunity to lead, where do you have, maybe you want to take this nation? Where do you want to take this country? What do you have for this nation? Because leadership is about solving the problem. It's not creating more problems. But now what we have at 60 today, we still have politicians, we still have leaders who are creating more problems than the problems that they are solving.
in what they think, in what they say.
In the process of attempting to solve problems that are personal,
They are creating more problems.
they create more problems, and it's quite interesting. It's very interesting and so sad. Kenya at 60, we are not supposed to have watu ambao wanaenda wanasimama kwa jukwaa and they exchange those bitter statements. Politics, it doesn't have to be bitter to be politics.
No.
It doesn't have to be about insults, blackmail, for it to be politics. It doesn't have to be like that. There are some nations, they will conduct election and you will never know even how the campaign was conducted. In the developed nation, where even people will electronically vote, and you will not hear the chaos of votes were exchanged on the air. They were diverted on the air. We are too hard for some carelessness that we are witnessing right now from some of our political class. But I'm just hoping that as we celebrate Kenya, I think one thing, Bwana Paul, we really have to pray. I think we have to pray that we arrive into that kind of ground. I'm looking forward to see the leaders that we have. The leaders, maybe that we can say they are founders and the pioneers of many movements of political parties in this country, allowing themselves to rest and give chance for the new minds. Because
some people would stone you. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Some people should retire. Actually, that is what you want to. You're running away from this one.
I'm just laughing because the other day I was having this kind of a discussion with a friend of mine sometimes who likes to come with many questions to me of politics, and I asked him, what do you think this personality, do you think they're supposed to still be in picture when it comes to Kenyan politics? And I was like, who else if not that person?
Allah.
So we are at that point where we are I don't want to really believe that we don't have the fresh minds that can bring this country to a place where there is a revival and a revolution. I don't want to believe that we don't have those minds. The only problem is that you will never know what is the current state of a nation in terms of growth until you allow new minds come in picture and bring what is new for the new season of that nation. That's the problem that everybody that is a leader in this country needs to really focus on. And if possible, let's pray about it. Let's have leaders who can say, I am here and I'm going to be like just, an advisor. I will stand on the gap and make sure that the young people that we are mentoring, we will usher them to the arena of politics. Give them the chance. Let them have an opportunity of leadership position. Let's see how they can perform. Let them have a position of decision making. Let's see how they are going to do things.
I think this is where the notion of somebody has not learned the last 25 years.
Well.
But it is no good to mention that. But I think because of the freedom of expression and like we have said, the new constitution, because this is, some people say it's the second, but I think this is the very first, our own document that is supposed to govern us. What maybe we'll ask you to maybe mention a bit on it, especially to the young blood, the young people. What should we expect from the young people, and what they should learn? Because they have a document that needs to be followed to the letter
and be fully implemented. Well, I think it's not that we haven't had the young people in power or in position. I think the problem that we have is, again, the young people that we have, they don't also have the confidence, not really the confidence in themselves, but the confidence of what has been handed over to them. For instance, we have had young people that were elected even to represent maybe different, position of the people from the ground. And those people went into the parliament and they went silent. I know from where I come from, we have sometimes back elected the young people in power as the people's representative in the parliament. And I have never heard or seen any of them pushing any muswada ambayo inaweza kusaidia the young people. So what actually the young people need to know is that power is not given. Okay? Power is not handed over. Power is not given. Power is not just given. Power is taken. Power is taken is not from the history. Power is taken. Power is not given. What that means is, if we are ever going to have that whole version of the pattern of the leadership, accept to exit and allow the new fresh mind to come in picture, the young people has to really prove themselves that they can do it. Okay? They have to prove themselves that they can do it. And how can they do that? If you have an opportunity, leadership, it doesn't have to be that you are elected politically in a position somewhere. Leadership, what I am doing right now is leadership. Somebody's going to watch this clip and they never knew that this man of God or this, we thought you're a preacher. Yes. Do you still also have a burden for this country and also in terms of politics? I don't know how this one is going to impact the life of somebody outside there who has never thought that the young people can also develop a burden and also have the passion of leadership. And that leadership, it doesn't really have to be that you are in government or in any political position. That is one thing that the young people really need to understand. There are so many ways that you can display your passion for people and the passion for your nation and the burden that you have to lead your people. Like I said, power is not given, power is taken. The young people, what is expected from them or what is expected from us is that we have to arise. We have to arise. We have to prove to whoever needs to be, proven that we have what it takes to do the very expected thing when it comes to leadership. I don't want to be in a place where you have people that have retired, and those people that are tired and retired are now picked again, reappointed, as if there are no people in that. You know, in as much as the experience is good, Bana Paul, there are certain things when you see them, you have to be worried about the future of that nation. You have to be worried about the future of that nation. Because what that means is that you are going to have a generation in future that will never really have the interest with the governance. And that's how a nation begins to fall in the place of leadership.
Very well. That's great. For those who are watching, it's good to note Kwamba. Now, Steve, we are going to, is it Embu?
Yes.
Now, this thing has started going around, I think, the previous regime, where now people are now experiencing these celebrations in their localities, in their counties. I think it's also something to celebrate.
Yeah.
Where instead of looking at
I think that's also a part of the devolution.
Oh, yeah.
There are some people who have never seen those kind of sherehes coming on the ground, machinani, and now they are witnessing that. It's also a devolved function, let me call it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which to me is it's doing Kenyans good.
Very well. Well, good. As we wish you happy maybe 60th year and a birthday for our country, we also wish those who are that age as the parent, Babake Irene, we wish that person time. Kenya is 60. We are all celebrating. We have had all that we need to work on. We have had what we need, where we have come from, where we are. And now, in the maybe like in 3 minutes or so, give in your wisdom.
Yes.
And where do you think now the country should be? Because now, if we were family, what do you think, and where do you think the country should be, and what should we do as a people? Let's talk about and as a citizen.
I thank God because you have really, drived up to your point very clearly as a citizen.
Yes.
Because we belong to this land,
Yes.
and we have no any other place to call home.
Oh, yeah.
This is our land, this is our Kenya, and this is where we will grow, hold, and leave our generation behind. One of the things that we have to really deal with as a nation is the issue of accountability and the transparency when it comes to governance. Whether the government is going to meet all the expectation of the citizens, or maybe some of those expectations will not maybe be met. The most important thing is the country, we have to get to a point where transparency of how things are being done, accountability of everything that is happening, integrity. There are certain things we shouldn't be even arguing about, because these ones they have no tribe, they have no. These ones they don't touch on whether anybody or any leader from any political class. If a nation lacks a system or a governing system that is accountable, that nation will never go anywhere, no matter how resourceful it is. When a nation lacks, a system or a regime that is not transparent in the way of governing, that nation will never arise. That nation will never go anywhere. When you have a nation whose leaders are not men and women of integrity, what you are raising there is just a future disaster that will keep on happening and happening to future generation. There are some things when you look at the series of we saw the other day. Was it a transfer? Is it a transfer that we saw? What was that? The public prosecutor nodding. Remind me the name of this guy, the Haji. he was reappointed. I think he used to be in that. He used to be in the same office. Yeah, he has been returned back that office. I don't know whether on the position where he was, he failed.
I don't think, because we have not had any.
And if you fail in one position, should you be demoted or promoted? Those are the questions I'm just trying to. We are yet to see, because the vetting just happened the other day. We are yet to see what is going to happen. But what I want to say is that there are certain things we are not supposed to witness as a nation at this level. Integrity is something that you cannot trade. You cannot downplay that one. You as a nation, we have to get to a point where even before you appoint any leader in any office, above everything else, the character of a man is very important. The character of a man. The character of a man. We should look forward to see a Kenya where you can drive your car on the road, and when the traffic police stops you, you will follow all the laws that governs the road. We are looking forward to see the Kenya at 60, where at the end of every, maybe the budget of every year, we need to see the common man engineering considered in every budget that is being passed in the parliament. We are looking forward also to see a nation where the most important things that actually, because you see, every leadership is about promoting the well-being of human beings. Because if there is going to be a system of leadership that is not promoting the well-being of human being, then that leadership is not necessary, is not even needful. So we are looking forward to a Kenya where we will go to hospitals and we'll find the doctors at work, no strike. We will go to school and we will find good classes where we can sit down and study. We are looking forward to see a Kenya where there will be justice. That is another giant in the house. Justice. We have so many injustice historically in this country. And I think that is one of the things that has become a problem politically. It has promoted a lot of bitterness in this country. We are looking forward into a nation where there will be a fair prosecution in our justice corridors. When you are arrested, you are not detained without trials, and when you appear before the court of law, you have the equal rights no matter your social status. That is the Kenya 6 that we are looking forward to see.
Thank you so much. I think it's high time now we look at our very first choppers to take us to Embu for this celebration.
Yes.
Yeah, we kind of come to the end of our show today.
Are you going to Embu, Banapol?
If they're choppers and we have drones, we can. I wanted to say, in 2083, we shall be looking at our country. I think I'll be here and I'll call you in 2083, same day.
The same day.
That will be, our country will be 120 years.
120 years. We will still be around. I'm telling you the truth.
I will invite you.
Yes.
If it will be here or elsewhere.
Yeah.
And look at where the country is. What I'm saying is we still have a long way to go. We have time to come. Yes, what a rudi kesho.
Yeah.
We shall be here. And the best thing, what I'm saying is, let us work on ensuring our country is at peace, number one. Develop our countries and make sure we have peace with one another. We are coming at the end of this show. Is we wish you the very, very best in your celebration today. Many people, we can see them in the stadium in Embu, are well prepared to receive the president. And who are we not to join them? I want to give Apostle Steve some time, I think a minute or so, just to maybe, if some of us are apostles, and like you are.
We have many colors.
We have many colors. And then I want you to pray for this country.
Yes.
And Tabiria, Kenya, mambo mema. Just in a minute or so.
That's great. I was going to request that.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's very important to rededicate this land once again in the hands of God as we celebrate Kenya at 6th that number already, it's a very good number. Number 6 is the number of man. Numerically, that's the number of men, and we have every responsibility, or a lot of things now lies on our shoulders, so that we can take the responsibility. Nataka tuombe na Wakenya mahali popote walipo wanapotutazama, na tuombe taifa letu la Kenya. Baba, katika jina la Yesu Kristo, tunakuja mbele zako na tunakushukuru kwa ajili ya taifa letu la Kenya. Taifa ambalo limejaa amani kwa muda mrefu. Umetuleta umbali huu, tumefika mahali tulipo Kenya at 60 kwa sababu ya neema yako. Maana zipo nchi nyingi Afrika na hata duniani ambazo baada ya kupata nafasi ya kukua independent zimekuwa na a lot of crisis, insecurities, na hawajawahi kuwa na amani. Lakini wewe umetusaidia Mungu, hadi katika umri huu wa miaka 60 tungali bado tunajitawala na tungali bado tunajiongoza, nchi ambayo ni nchi ya demokrasia na nchi ambayo ni nchi ya amani. Naleta Kenya sasa mikononi mwako as we celebrate the atmosphere of this land. Kuanzia sasa ikatakasike kwa damu ya Kristo. Mahali popote ambapo adui alikuwa amenyosha mkono ili kwamba akaweze kupollute the atmosphere of the territory of Kenya, we declare in the name of Jesus peace, peace in every corner of the map of this land. We speak peace in every office, in every department of leadership in this country. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, I am praying for our president. I am praying for his government. I'm praying for his system and all the people that are working together with him. I rededicate their lives and the responsibility that you have entrusted in their hands, oh God, that you may grace them enough to take those responsibilities with understanding that no leadership that comes from a man, but leadership comes from God. We pray that you will give our president the wisdom that it takes to lead a nation. Let everything that needs to be done in this country be communicated in his heart, and together with his system, that they may lead this country to a more safer ground, secure environment, and a peaceful land. Thank you, Jesus, because you have done it already. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray and we give thanks. Amen and amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. It has been a good time. We thank you for having been with us. Steve, thank you for the 63rd birthday.
Thank you so much also for having me.
In your time back to Kitui. Wasalimia watu wa Kitui, tell them we are here and we are still coming for TASWIRA.
We are working on mashinani.
Yes.
And the watu wa Kitui, they should expect this bench for mashinani.
Good. Anaitwa Isaac Shalom, tuned from Muranga. We have really grown as a country. Serikali imetuletea ugatuzi na hivyo kutusaidia kufikia wananchi mashinani. Asante. Shiro Kamande, good conversation here. Pika is well covered. Asante. Celebrating 60 years. I celebrate my dad, a fantasy. Okay. And also Meli Emmanuel, Mr. Jacob, correct? Yeah. Celebrate yourself as well. We come to the end of TASWIRA ya SIASA ya leo. Kutakia mema tunapoelekea uwanjani, basi tukutane kule, tuulizane, sherekee pamoja. Until next Thursday, God bless you. Bye.